What was your I can't believe this is happening right now moment of your life? I broke down in the mountains late at night back before cell phones. I had my flashes on and my hood up and was standing outside trying to figure out what to do. 2 cops and a tow truck drove by without helping me. Hours later a group of teenagers finally pulled over and offered to drive me to a phone to call for help. Talking with dolphin trainer at aquarium. Both of us sitting on the edge of pontoon on water. Feet in the water. Feel something brush past my foot. Then significant rubbing. Look down. Female dolphin masturbating against my foot. Yeah, they do that. Was the trainer's response. Okay. Edit. Wake up to find my highest rated comment on Reddit is about a dolphin trying to be a flipper slipper for my foot. Nice. That would probably be having a conference call with my boss and HR telling me I was one of 50 people being laid off due to restructuring, while my now ex-wife was in the other room packing her things to move out of the house. That day my wife and I were having lunch with friends at a restaurant. Wouldn't have been a big deal except I'd recently been blindsided by the discovery of her affair and her subsequent decision to leave me. We hadn't told anyone what was going on, so things were a little strained, to say the least. I was still trying to process everything that was going on, and falling out of love with the woman I'd been with for almost 20 years. And I found myself becoming infatuated with a casual acquaintance I had. A woman I'd met exactly once for all of an hour. Stupid, I know, but that fantasy of falling in love again, of rebuilding my life with someone new. It was the straw I found myself clinging to as I drowned in the emotional maelstrom of divorce. So back to the lunch. Everyone is chatting away. My wife and I doing our best to ignore the 800-pound gorilla that has its arms cozily wrapped around us. When Usha walk in. But infatuation woman. Turns out she was friends with one of the other people at the table and, oh, you should join us. Are you sure? Is there room? Well, okay, I'd love to. Which is how I ended up having lunch with my soon-to-be ex-wife and my soon-to-be future wife. Follow up edit. This was 5 years ago. Future wife and I tied the knot in late 2017. Still together. No gorillas. I choked on a chic filet sandwich at a mall food court as a teenager. My friend had gone to get a drink so I was alone. And I was like, really choking. Not there's a bit stuck in my throat, but every time I tried to breathe, almost no air got in and the chunk of chicken moved slightly in my airway. I began trying to get people's attention. To no avail. Sir, if you're choking in public, be prepared to die alone. Unless you do the Heimlich maneuver to yourself. Which is exactly what I ended up having to do. Head-on collision with my motorcycle and a sewage drain. I had 1 second to decide to Superman off the front. The I can't believe this is happening right now moment came when I was mid-air. I found my husband unresponsive and called 911. Did CPR. Paramedics came and took over. After 30 minutes they told me he was gone and there was nothing they could do. Tons of friends and family came over right away. For some reason it only hit me when one of our good friends told me not to worry about food or lawn care as she was setting up a food train lawn care for me. That was the oh this is really happening moment for me. Went to a concert of my favorite band ever. Bought the VIP tickets. Chatted with artist before concert. Ended up going out to dinner with the whole band after the concert at some 24 hours diner. Best moment of my life. I am not an attractive human being. I'll open with that. I'm at Starbucks prepping my cup of coffee. For a venti I tend to splash some half and half and do 3 raw sugars. A woman standing next to me says with a smile, take some coffee with your sugar. I politely chuckle and hold up a packet of the raw sugar I'm using. My wife don't keep this at our home. So I tend to indulge in the good stuff when I find it. She makes what I can only image is her bedroom eyes at me, reaches for my arm and says maybe you need to start looking outside of your house for the good stuff. I laughed loud and I laughed hard because as far I could tell, this stranger was serious. I laughed all the way out the door and never looked back. Edit. I got Reddit Silver. I didn't know that was a thing. Thank you. Edit. And the gold as well. Thank you. The time I got punched by a wild mountain gorilla. Backstory, I was in Uganda. where they sell $500 permits where you can hike into the forest with guides and then spend an hour with the gorillas. If that sounds steep, I believe it's even more now, and is kept high so the locals have incentive to protect over poach the gorillas. One of the gorillas in the troop we were going to visit had the name Punchy in the local language because he enjoyed the teenage male game enjoyed by many species of I hit you, you hit me back. So upon seeing us he ran towards our group, knocked over one girl, and came to me and hit my gut. Luckily it was a play punch to see if I was interested, and the guards dragging me away to make sure he wouldn't think I was hurt more. But yeah, wild moment for sure. The first time I walked up to a plane I'd rented for the day, signed off, did a pre-flight, got in and took off. I legally took an airplane out for a spin, and no one was monitoring me. It just seemed like an insane thing. Finally got together with my crush. I can't believe this is happening right now. Drank too much and couldn't get it up. I can't believe this is happening right now. I was 9. My mother and stepfather had gotten into a fight and she decided that everything that caused them to argue had to go, including me. She got the rifle and chased me. I hid for hours until she lost interest, as I hid in the barn. I was wondering if this was a normal thing or not. Edit. This happened many years ago. Summer of '84. I am living an amazing life now and she isn't in it. This is only one of the things that happens to me and one of the few I am willing to talk to about. Thanks for the well wishes. And to those that are younger and still coping, you got this. My moment was when I drove my recently murdered little sister's car off the crime scene once the police released it into my stepmom's custody. She had been killed in said car. Edit. Thank you everyone for all the love and support. I was working at a group home with people who have physical and mental disabilities. We were all eating lunch when a client suddenly was choking. He turned blue and I thought, here we go. I performed the Heimlich and he stopped choking and started to breathe. That was scary. I was in the hospital for my dad after he got into a fender bender. Everything was going fine. He only had a sore neck and some minor scratches, up until the doctor came in, shut the curtain behind her and told him we found some spots on your lungs when we scanned you. Completely unexpected and heartbreaking. When I was 14, just playing the newly released Arkham City, the doorbell rang and the police came to our house in order to tell us our dad died in a car accident. Just ran into my room to have the loudest and longest holler of my entire life. I live in an apartment with a balcony overlooking a canal. One evening my partner and I were out on the balcony having a smoke. There was nobody around except for a drunk guy stumbling down the path along the canal. My partner commented that he'd fallen if he wasn't careful, and sure enough, he did. We immediately called an ambulance and my partner ran outside to look for help. The guy was twice our size and if we'd tried to help by ourselves, we all would have drowned. Emergency services arrived in less than 10 minutes and pulled him out. He lived. Still gives me shivers to think about what would have happened if we hadn't been outside. Being recruited to teach English when I was at Feist in a club in Japan. The phone call I got, as I was leaving work, telling me I needed to get to the hospital ASAP because the results of my bone marrow biopsy the day before indicate I had leukemia. Literally everything stopped. The doctor kept talking, but I heard nothing he said. Edit. I rewatched that Breaking Bad episode when Walt gets the news. It's definitely like that. The 15th of January 2019 edit. I had my day plus 100 bone marrow biopsy on 12/31 and got the results today. Everything is looking good. No evidence of AML. No evidence of FLT3. AML is bad, but having the FLT3 mutation makes it so much worse and harder to cure. In all reality, if I had been diagnosed 2-3 years ago, I might not be alive today. My chimerism test shows 100% male donor cells. I'm female, so things are going very well so far, knock on wood. Hearing I have cancer 2 days after my 28th birthday. Couldn't stop thinking, I am too young for cancer. I got a message one day from a stranger that said there's something we need to talk about that is important to both of us. I made some time for a call shortly thereafter, and the stranger called me. Hi, you don't know me, but I think it's important that you know that my husband is sleeping with your wife. I know this because he left his Facebook logged into our computer at home, and I see everything they have been chatting about for months. Boom. Life upended. I was good to my wife. Really good. Then my life exploded. Children were involved, and families destroyed on all sides. That was the start of the worst year of my life. Over the next 6 months, I lost 40 pounds of weight and probably shortened my life by 10 years due to stress. Bonus points. It turns out that in my appointed position with the local government, I had given the guy an award the year before for his service to children. Good news. It's all good now. It was bound to happen. As I learned later, she was a serial cheater before me. So it's not like it wasn't going to happen at some point. I am with a great person now, and family life is great. Full stop. I'm running late for work in the morning, trying to get the 4:59 AM train, and in my foggy morning brain only see the cat too late. Swerve. Bang. Cat lives, but I pranged the parked Merc van. Freak out. Leave a note and call my boyfriend to help. I don't have insurance and am broke hospo uni student. Fast forward to an anxiety-ridden phone call I answer from the CEO of the company whose work van I hit. Tearful. Sobbing apologies are made as I explain I can get a loan to cover the damage to his car, but it has to be a cash job. He asks to meet and discuss the situation in person. Duck it. I have to pay the money anyway, and this man deserves the respect of a heartfelt apology face to face. I meet him and his assistant for coffee. We talk and he gives me life lessons. We talk some more. He asks personal questions and I answer honestly because why not? I'm sure this dude could find out anyway if he wanted. He gets up for a smoke and I chat with his assistant. He comes back, gets the nod from his assistant, and then proceeds to shove a wad of cash into my hand. Tells me to sort my it out, fix my car, get insurance and pay it forward when I get the chance, and leaves. A salsa. Edit. Wow. I wanted to share this because I know plenty of people, myself included, have little faith in others these days. Good people are still out there. To answer some recurring questions. No, I haven't paid it forward yet. This happened only a few months ago and I am still a broke ass uni student who now has a recently repaired car with full comprehensive insurance. I personally would have done the same thing if the roles were reversed. So trust me, if I am ever loaded or I am able to help out people, I will. I give what I can to the homeless and grew up with my family donating to charities. It's something I really believe in. No, he was not a Christian Grey and there were number 50 Shades-esque activities. Make a much more interesting story than we talked over coffee. Edit 2. I forgot to include how I understand how stupid and reckless it is to drive without insurance. This situation is single-handedly the biggest duck-up moment of my life. And in no way am making excuses for not having insurance. It honestly came down to me being an idiot and accidentally letting it lapse. Also, thank you to the kind people who gave me silver. I do not deserve a cent of your money, but I really appreciate the gesture. Asking a girl out and her actually saying yes. I was like, what do I do now? Finding out I had epilepsy all my life when I was 45 years old. When I got an email stating I got the PhD position and to get ready to go to Antarctica. Still can't believe I've been there twice. I woke up from what felt like a dream. Kind of like when you are half asleep and someone is talking to you and you know that they're there, but your mind is somewhere else. I was woken up to a man asking me what my name was and my first thought was, well, that's a pretty good question, isn't it? I wasn't quite sure what my name was. I was still in a dream-like state where I couldn't really grasp the physical world. Then he asked me what day it was, to which I thought I couldn't tell you what day it was most days of the week. And then it clicked. It was Christmas Day. The guy waking me up was a paramedic getting ready to load me into a helicopter. My face was so broken that I couldn't open my eyes or make any sound more than a moan. But I wasn't in pain. My next thought was damage control. I got ducked up somehow. Still don't remember what happened 12 years later, but I was being taken care of, and I still have all my teeth. First thing I did when I realized I was in bad shape was lick all my teeth to see if they were there. The moment where I thought I can't believe this is my life right now happened once I landed at the hospital. I always would think, when watching shows such as ER and the like, that it must be embarrassing to be injured and have a room full of people strip all your clothes off. So there I was laying on a table which felt like cold like metal, in a neck brace, uncomfortable, butt ass naked, with people evidently scurrying around me. I chuckled to myself in my head how crazy it was that I was now that person naked in a hospital, but I didn't care at all. I was just comforted that I was being taken care of. Ski patrol told me I got knocked out and slid 200 yards face down, unconscious. No one saw the accident, and because so few people were riding on Christmas Day, but they could tell by the tracks that I had left. I don't remember what happened at all, however. Needless to say, I wear a helmet when I ride now, which everyone should regardless of skill level. TL. Doctor, don't smash your face on a mountain at high speed. Edit. Mobile autocorrect. Formatting. When the nurse handed us our first child ready to take her home, I looked at my wife and immediately thought, we have to keep this thing alive. One day I'm walking toward my local train station with my then GF. Suddenly the train arrives. We dash for it. She gets in first. Then I get in. Well, almost. My ankle gets caught in the door as it closes. I get embarrassed easily, so I'm struggling to get my leg in as fast as possible. Yet it won't budge. Everyone on the train is watching, including the GF. I finally get my ankle in the door with a quick, forceful tug. So forceful that my jeans fall down to my feet because of a faulty belt I just bought. So a train cart of about 30 people saw my pants drop and had a nice view of my chicken legs and boxers. I pick him up with the speed of light, sit down next to my GF and ignore what the duck just happened. It's pretty hard to ignore it while almost everyone on the train was either laughing, pointing or talking about it as I sweat and overheat like a man stranded in the middle of the Sahara Desert with no water. Fortunately, my GF didn't laugh at me until we got off the train. My first dance with my wife at our wedding. We are 30 and have been married for 2 years, but we have been friends since we were 13. I always had a crush on her. In school I was more focused on soccer, which led to many universities offering scholarships. I was also preoccupied with a severely abusive home situation. Things never really worked out. After high school she went to college. I joined the army. Fast forward a bunch of years. I messaged her on my birthday because she was in France celebrating her master's degree. We hit it off and have been together since that message. All these memories and this timeline flashed in my head during our first dance. I sobbed. I never thought I was worthy of love. I always thought my purpose was to be everyone else's punching bag. Today, I am the happiest I have ever been. I honestly can't believe this is happening right now. Reddit. Thank you to everyone for the kind words. Thank you for all the Reddit currency. If I can pass along one piece of advice, always communicate, especially when it's hard. We have had 3 heated arguments in almost 5 years of being together. We talk about things we like. We talk about things that annoy us. We talk about getting hurt by each other. We talk about little things that makes us happy. I never wonder how she feels about something and she doesn't either. You're both on the same team. Don't make things harder on your teammate. The last year of my life pretty much. Wife cheated on me and blames me. She then strings me along and lies to me for 8 months repeatedly telling me she's ended the relationship. I keep catching her lying. I finally end it and give her the boot in November. 2 weeks ago she starts talking about really wanting to fix things. That she's tired of missing out on the wonderful family we could have with our kids. I let her back in emotionally against everyone I know, and everything in me saying it's a bad idea. Then I find out she's still talking to her boyfriend and hasn't ended it. Last night, after she supposedly ended it again, she said I'm the one who can't be trusted. WTF. Be gone. Manipulative cunt. Be gone. I was swimming at a lake last summer. My sister has 7 kids, so I was helping her keep an eye on them. A little boy was bouncing up and down beside me. I thought the kids next to him were with him. Then I realized they swam away and he was by himself. But he wasn't play jumping. He was trying to stay above water. After 4 seconds of him going under and seeing that he actually wasn't tall enough to be in the 4-foot water, I reached over and grabbed him. Kid almost drowned. Turns out he was about 3 years old. He puked up a bunch of water all over me and I held that stranger's kid in a hug so tight. The parents were 20 feet away with their backs turned. It took me a good 10 minutes to find them after standing there in the lake screaming for them and asking random people if that was their kid. Could not stop shaking with the realization this kid could have died and I just saved him. I had to leave after that and haven't been back to that lake since. People, watch your kids please. Tons of kids die every year. Takes 1 minute of distraction. Edit. So I should mention the lake was Keystone State Park. They have no lifeguards on duty except for the holidays. Swim at your own risk. It was only June and from what I heard later, kids drown there all the time. The parents were grateful, but I think they were extremely embarrassed, as they should have been. Taking a phone call from my twin from the hospital to say her husband didn't make it after she'd found him unresponsive in VF and had done CPR on him while waiting for paramedics. All the time her kids were at my house. I was looking after them, but she didn't want me to tell them as she wanted to tell them herself. Hardest day of my life. A million times harder for her. Some days I still can't believe he's gone. I drove from Pennsylvania to South Carolina last year specifically to witness a solar eclipse in totality. The experience was simply amazing. It was like a dream state. Checking a regular guest out of my hotel when I realized he was having a stroke. Mumbling. Repeating himself. Couldn't even sign his name. Called 911 so an ambulance could get him to a hospital. The moment it really hit was the next day when his wife called and said I saved his life. Like dude, I work at a hotel. This was not something I ever expected to hear. Or when I was 12 and sang with the National Children's Choir at Carnegie Hall in Nick. Even that young I knew this was a big deal. I've said this before on Reddit, but the only place it's gotten any attention is in Oliver from New York. In 2014, I won tickets in the lottery to go see Saturday Night Live with my husband. After they had showed us to our seats in the balcony, they asked if we wanted to sit up front, and of course we did. So they ushered us to the front row, and oh my god, Lorne Michaels walked by and I thought I was going to die. As the show started, the host, Sarah Silverman, starts into her monologue, and she glanced our way. That was when I knew something was going to happen involving us. The next thing I know, she is walking towards us and she sits in my lap. There is a camera and cue cards in my face and Sarah ducking Silverman is sitting in my lap asking me questions. So I put on my best, not so great apparently, game face and tried to keep up whilst thinking all of my family and friends are watching this and oh my god, this is going to be on YouTube and please stop making that dumb face. I didn't stop making the dumb face and people later thought I was about to cry. I wasn't. I have just never felt so many emotions at once. And that's how I ended up in an SNL monologue. Edit. Here's the link. Edit 2 for those of you not in the US. As in actual disbelief, I get a car serviced from the airport for work trips. Was on a totally nondescript work trip. Was in Manhattan for the week. Didn't go out much or anything outside of working. Just kinda set up shop in my kitchenette suite for food. I mentioned that because I had bought some paper plates at a Dwayne Reed, which I realized was dumb because I needed maybe 3 for the week and had 20 something left over. So I put them in my carry-on to take back with me. Wasn't an issue necessarily, but Tsar thought it was weird so they took them out to check for explosive residue. They were actually super nice about it. Anyway, no problem. I kept them in there. I mention all of this only because I'm heading down the escalator toward baggage claim at my home airport. See my driver with my name on his tablet etc. I approach him and he confirms my identity. He then, deadly serious, says something like I have to inform you that I am a federal agent and we're taking you in for questioning to the federal courthouse. Please follow me this way. I freeze. My brain goes back to those ducking paper plates that Tsar pulled out in Nick. Was there something on there? Do they think I'm a terrorist? I just look at him really dumb for what feels like an eternity, and this guy doesn't crack. I think I ask what are you talking about, and then he finally drops it and says man, I'm just playing with you. You got any bags? TL. Doctor thought I was being taken in by the feds for unknowingly carrying Dwayne Reed paper plate bombs. The day my daughter was born my sister showed up unexpectedly at the hospital. I assumed she was dropping by to see the baby. Nope. My dad was literally next door in the heart ward. This was a huge place and it was totally by chance. There were double doors between the baby and heart ward and he was on the other side with complications for heart failure. The emotions were so strong and conflicting I had to turn them off and I'm not sure they ever really came back. Just after I had my second child, I had bathed them, put them both in onesies and I lay them head to head on my bed to take a cute pic of them together. Both fire little faces looking at me and seeing them there together. It was a huge moment of surrealism for me. So much responsibility. They're so real. I made them. They depend on me and they have all these possibilities ahead of them. I can't lie. It took my breath away. That photo still does. Edit. Oh, I'm really happy how this has made other people feel happy and reminiscent too. Link to pic for those who wanted to see it. Super grainy. Old pic. Baby is sorry if that's not the best way to post it.